adversidad para forjar el pan de ser mejor. No es tarde para la vida, se ilumina la madurez, si el camino es del aprendiz, hay risas en el rostro del hacer, creando el filo oscuro de la nada, los pozos de la sal del desaliento, rasgando mi futuro con la espada nociva de mis pasos contra el viento, pero encontré un sabor de abril, un labio de confianza por morder, un prado de mañanas donde izar el bien. Hay sangre de semilla en mí, hay una luz en flor de par en par, un hambre de ayudarme y ayudar. Me cabe el mundo en los ojos, soy de arte, soy de sudor. Mi esperanza es metal de fe, los sueños no envejecen, si sueñan crecen. Donde encontré un sabor de abril, un labio de confianza por morder, un prado de mañana donde izar el bien. Hay sangre de semilla en mí, una luz en flor de par en par, un hambre de ayudarme y ayudar. La maravilla, hombros del amor, creando cruza el río en busca del sol. A tiempo ha llegado el tiempo. Bueno, buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, my name is Carl Garcia. It is indeed an honor and a pleasure for me to be here and sing for you. My first song is called En Busca del Sol, and I wrote it for a social project, and I think it fits you very well for the work you're doing. You're always searching for the sunshine, and you're always trying to improve this project or country that we're building. My second song is in tribute to an individual who fought to improve the human condition and the quality of lives and the spirit of persons. That is Ernesto Guevara.
Roja semilla que América alumbró, limpia baja de la higuera, la sangre de flor de escuela de tu voz, humana que muda en muerte más se alzó. Verde Cristo del olivo de la sierra, oración del oprimido, disparos de comunismo que se acuerdan del olvido de los pobres de la tierra. Guevara, Guevara libre, Guevara entero, Guevara piel de guerrilla, Guevara quimera en vuelo, Guevara carne de ejemplo, mano de obrero, Guevara letra y destino, Guevara recuerdo y duelo, Guevara, Guevara tiempos, Guevara nuevos. Tan rosarina y cubana tu montura, cambia el asma por las balas, carga mochila de hidalgo la aventura, que a la estrella de tu frente puso alas. Serénese que usted va a matar a un hombre, al asesino dijiste, la herida que pare sueños no se esconde, cuando agranda los cimientos de su estirpe. Guevara, utopía al hombro, carisma al fuego, árbol del pan de los hombres, niño con luz de alfarero. Guevara, visión de rumbo, Guevara puerto, latido de sacrificio, precipicio a los sinceros. Guevara, Guevara tiempos, Guevara nuevos, Guevara millón de rostros, rostros de pueblo, gran Guevara de los Andes que anima el crecer de un credo. Guevara, salud del mundo, Guevara eterno, Guevara fe de justicia, Guevara futuro en juego. Guevara, Guevara tiempos, Guevara nuevos, Guevara, Guevara tiempos, Guevara nuevos. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much. After 3 days of intense deliberations, we are closing this evening the 14th International Meeting on Criminal Sciences and the second Conference on Legality, Law and Society. These two events also witnessed a meeting of the Executive Committee of the Ibero-American Society of Prosecutors. And a few minutes ago, we also witnessed the International Forum of the Conference of Ministers of Justice of the countries of Ibero-America in parallel. We have also witnessed tens of exchanges as well as agreements being signed between the Cuban AGs and the Cuban AG and the participating AGs. And we have with us the Secretary of the Council of State of the Republic of Cuba, Homero Acosta Alvarez, who is chairing the ceremony. Also present at the chair are the Cuban AG, Darío Delgado Cura, the Cuban Minister of Justice, Maria Esther Reus Gonzalez, the Cuban Chief Justice, Rubén Remigio Ferrio, Brigadier General Marcos Hernandez Alcaraza, a head of division in the Ministry of Interior. Also with us is an officer from the Central Committee of the Communist Party, Joaquin Bernal Rodriguez. Also with us is the chairman of the National Cuban Bar Association, José Luis Garginato. The assistant rector of the University of Havana, Maida Goite Pierre. Also at the chair is the Attorney General of Panama and chairperson of the Ibero-American Association of AGs, Kenia Porcel. Also the Secretary General of the Conference of Ministers of Justice of the countries of Ibero-America, Arkel Benitez Mendizabal. In the audience, we have representatives of delegations from the 28 participating countries, as well as national and foreign invitees. Let us now read a summary of the rapporteur's reports right from the opening ceremony to the closing ceremony by the Chief Rapporteur, Master Dania Silot Navarro, who is a prosecutor in the Cuban AG's office. Good afternoon, distinguished delegates and invitees. The 14th International Conference, Criminal Sciences 2018, and the second Conference on Legality, Law and Society are closing today. These conferences will be attended by 400 delegates from 28 countries, such as Angola, Argentina, Brazil, Bolivia, Belarus, China, Chile, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Spain, Hungary, Italy, Jamaica, the PRK, Laos, Mongolia, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Portugal, Peru, Venezuela, Russia, Vietnam, Kazakhstan, and Cuba. Also in attendance were 10 AGs from Bolivia, Chile, Korea, Spain, Hungary, Jamaica, Laos, Panama, Hellenic Republic, and Venezuela, as well as the assistant AGs of Angola, Russia, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, and Portugal, and the Deputy Chief Justice of Vietnam. Also present were representatives of UNICEF, as well as from the Expert Exchange Program of the EU, as well as the American Association of AGs, as well as the Conference of Ministers of Justice of the American countries. The opening remarks were delivered by Mr. Darío Delgado Cura, the Cuban AG, who expressed that the crime is no longer a local problem, and it has become a global threat that knows no limits or boundaries, and in which the main victims are the children, women, and the elderly. He also said that organized crime does not exist in Cuba. However, its diverse manifestations in our environment, together with other factors, then we are being impacted directly and indirectly, and those representing a change for our legal system and the prosecutor and the AG's office. He also underscored the importance of international cooperation on the principle of shared responsibility amongst all of our judicial systems. He also discussed some aspects of our penal system and the role of the AG in this system. He also said that justice should not be limited to the enforcement of criminal law. He also explained the roles of our institution in other areas and the improvement of our management systems. He closed by saying that our laws and practices are not perfect. However, we're working hard in order to improve them and modernize them. The sessions also saw 24 special interventions by prestigious personalities, scholars, and legal professors who addressed a diversity of topics that are highly topical, such as cross-border crime, terrorism, participation in corporate crime, legal persons, the strengthening of cooperation in the effective fight of cross-border traffic of drugs, and the necessary international cooperation in the penal area. A lot was said about corruption around the world and the need to prevent it, and the measures and actions being undertaken in countries to address them, because, as was said by one of the lecturers, the scourge of corruption is an ailment that is corroding and damaging the ethics and public morale, and gets an entire nation sick. Also, a look was taken to the notaries' roles, as well as reflections among the relations between parents and children and the families. And it was found that the children behave in accordance with the rules of behavior of their own families. And love is not enough, and then every child is unique, and therefore we must find specific solutions that are tailored to each child. The work commissions, at the work commissions, legal counsels from different professions, as well as scholars and students, addressed diversity of matters such as financial crimes and the civil servants crimes in the Panamanian criminal law, the Italian experience in the recovery of assets and an economic attack on the organized crimes, as well as sex crimes in Panama and the consequences, the Spanish experience on tax crime as a criminal activity that precedes money laundering, and the international challenges to civil and business mediation and phenomenon of transnational organized crime, including the human traffic. This topic was also addressed in depth at a panel staffed by officers from the AG's office, as well as the Ministries of Interior and Public Health of Cuba. Several presentations addressed the matter of corruption, and they also looked at it from different contexts and perspectives. Discussion was held on the illicit negotiations as well as the crime of embezzlement in the Cuban criminal code under the doctrines and legal profiles of contractual liability, contractual, environmental, administrative liability. The panelists and speakers looked at the interests of the child as established in the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and this document was also commented, and it was said that this document is the international legal framework for human rights for children and teenagers, for which UNICEF is working. Emphasis was placed on the need to prevent violence against women. Reflections were held about child abuse. Assessments were made about the prevention of prostitution and drugs, and the population aging, and the mechanisms to protect the senior citizens in the Cuban legal systems. Institutions such as institutions of family law, such as adoption, and a critique of marriage were also marriage amongst the minors were also addressed. The professors and students from the University of Havana addressed the criminological fundamentals to address new forms of crimes, such as cybercrime, then the prevention of IT crimes, and the financial crime, and the media criminology and private corruption, and the criminological approach to money laundering. In the context of this event, we also saw an international conference, or the Conference of Ministers of Justice of the Ibero-American countries, which was chaired by its General Secretary Alquer Benitez Mediazabal, and this meeting was also attended by the Cuban Minister of Justice. In this forum, discussed the issue of prevention of violence, and from the reformulation and response to several questions. The meeting also heard about the violence and crime in general, and the essential ideas were also put forward about the challenges we are all facing, and the need for citizens' participation, and the need to generate a mechanism amongst all of the Iberian countries to share initiatives and new practices, and the basis and elements for a text of prevention of crime and violence. In the context of this conference, we held a meeting of the Ibero-American Association of Ministers of Justice, chaired by the Attorney General of Panama, and attended by Spain, Portugal, Chile, Mexico, and Cuba. The delegates and invitees. All of these reflections that were held in this event have confirmed the validity of the topics pertaining to criminal sciences and other areas of law, which have an impact on the development of society. In a globalized world where social exclusion and poverty are spreading, with a special impact on children and teenagers. Therefore, there's need to bring efforts and the wills together so that the social policies pursued by the states, as well as the activities of the international agencies, as well as institutions and personalities and specialists, such as those represented here, can lead to solutions to the complex problems being faced by us on a day-to-day in the discharge of our duties, so that we can make a contribution to a better world for the future. Thank you very much. ¿Qué quiere, mija, chico?
Yo le dije que tú le llamabas ahora.
No.
Convocatoria al de
A invitation for the 15th International Meeting on Criminal Science 2020 and the third Conference on Legality, Law, and Society. The Cuban Attorney General's Office is inviting you to attend the 15th International Conference on Criminal Science 2020 and the third Conference on Legality, Law, and Society, which will take place at this International Conference Center in Havana, Cuba, in March 2020. These two meetings will be co-sponsored by the Cuban Bar Association, the School of Law at the University of Havana, the Cuban Supreme Court, the Corporate Office of Law Firms, and the National Association of Cuban Economists and Accountants. This invitation is geared to prosecutors, barristers, judges, police officers, prison officers, criminalists, criminologists, victimologists, forensic doctors, psychiatrists, officers who deal with minors and victims, with behavioral disorders, psychologists, sociologists, controllers, auditors, economists, legal counsels, professors, and university students, amongst other specialists who are interested in this matter. The main topics that will be addressed are as follows. A technical legal approach to cross-border crime, measures for prevention and enforcement, financial and civil servant crimes, the Ministry of Justice and the court system in the fight against corruption, cybercrime, terrorism, money laundering, and international court cooperation, criminal tutelage of the environment, the execution of sentences by persons who have been deprived of freedom, legal criminal liability of legal persons, challenges in the current society, state society, and law in the struggle against corruption, gender, law and prevention of violence, comprehensive protection of children, and paternal and child relations, migratory laws, and the strengthening of the role of the state as a guarantee for an effective public management, and the control of the law as a guarantee for legal safety of the citizens. The papers that shall be sent to the organizing committee before January the 10th, 2020, for review and the selection of the presentations that will be in the schedule of events. In the event that a paper is not selected for the scientific program, this will not exclude the possibility that the author may participate as a delegate. The organizing committee reserves the right to accept papers based on the basis of thematic or institutional interest. The authors of the presentations may be individual or collective. Their size shall not exceed 30 pages and include an abstract of up to 250 words. The full names of the authors must be provided, as well as the scientific and academic degree, title of the presentation, institution, member institution, city, and country of residence, fax, email address, and telephones. The documents will be presented in Word, version 6 or higher. And in order to make sure that papers are included in the scientific programs as well as the memorial of the event, the papers must be sent to the following addresses: relaciones@fgr.gov.cu or patricia@fgr.gov.cu. This is the invitation for the 15th International Conference on Criminal Sciences 2020 and the third Conference on Legality, Law, and Society. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of the participants. I want to wish you success in your efforts, and I invite you to meet again right here at the Havana International Conference Center in 2020.